Hi everyone, I'm Gustavo. Welcome to External Secrets Community Meeting. As a reminder, we do have a code of conduct. The link to the code of conduct is on the chat. I am putting it again. Basically, be nice and kind to each other, respect each other's opinions and different backgrounds. Our link to the agendas, I'm also posting it on the chat once more. Please be sure to add any point that you would like to discuss in there. We will go through the list in a basically FIFO order, first in, first out. Before we start going to the meeting notes, I see some new faces here, so I would like to give you a brief moment to introduce yourselves. Of course, totally optional.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Shlomo. Hi, I'm from CyberArk. I am also a member of the security, but I'm not here in that capacity. So let's pretend that doesn't exist for now. But yeah, I work on Conjure, and as I put on the agenda, I'm interested in some discussions about stuff we can do to improve the Conjure provider in ESO.
Awesome. Thank you for joining.
Sure.
Go on.
Hi, folks. My name is Victor. I'm quite new to the community as a general. I'm from Brazil. I work for a fintech here in Brazil called Pismo, and I hope I can help you guys with the newest bug fix and so on.
Thank you. Just to also give us a quick introduction from our side, I'm Gustavo. I am a maintainer for ESO, I think, for almost a year now, maybe a little bit longer. Almost 2 years even. So yeah, time flies. And Moritz, if you want to give a quick introduction as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Moritz. I'm based in Germany. I created the project together with Lucas and all the other folks who joined in the beginning, and I've been there since I don't know 3 years now. I don't even know how long this thing even exists, but yeah, been there from the beginning.
Thank you. All that being done, now we're going to move to the agenda notes. The very first point on the agenda is the provider versioning proposal. I'm putting the link for the PR that we have a discussion here. Uh, Basically, this one is around one feature that we would like to have on external secrets. Not we would like to have, we are considering having on external secrets before moving to GA, which is changing a little bit how the secret store CRD works, just to allow for better maintenance. There is a proposal there. That proposal caused some big of a discussion on GitHub. So the idea on last community meeting, we had a deadline to actually try to implement something. If that was not possible, we would simply move to GA with whatever we had. We could create a proposal. So now we just basically need to discuss a little bit pros and cons of what should we do in terms of next steps, basically. To summarize on that issue, I myself created 3 possible points. I think I got the wrong links here. I don't have the link for the PR. Let me get the link for the PR where the discussion is actually at. There you go. This is the proposal. And basically, with the proposal as we currently have, the idea is that providers wouldn't be objects within the secret store, and rather they would be CRDs by themselves. This allows users to install whichever provider they want, which only by that feature is good to have regardless of any other trouble that we have, because it allows users to control no providers on their environments, basically. The current implementation still would support secret stores. That's basically on my opinion, because I like to separate some features out of the providers, where the comments on the threads are basically around, do we really need to keep secret stores once this feature is in? Does it really make sense to have a CRD that would compose only of 2, maybe 3 features? That's really the main point of the discussion.
Yeah, maybe I can jump in right here. So my thoughts revolved mostly around the user experience and the the perception of the user. I so I my thoughts are that I don't really see that we need the secret store because it essentially just contains a pointer, just a reference to some other CRD, and I don't really see like the value of it. It just creates confusion in someone using ESO. So I think it would be better if we think of it in in terms of a different version. Maybe just think of it as a sort of a V2 structurally, so that in an external secret you would not point to a secret store. You would rather than directly point to a provider, which then contains like all the specific data. So that was like my my proposal or my idea. With that being
The
said, yeah.
the bit that really, from the user perspective, I kind of understand the logic. There is a counter argument there, which is users are already so used to creating secret stores, it would already be a breaking change to not be able to kubectl get secret store, right? So to that degree, it would already be breaking. There are ways that we can use to prevent that from being such a breaking change. Like the providers are just a class of the secret store group, and then we have aws.secretstore instead of calling it as aws.provider, because then get secret stores will get everything under the all providers basically. The thing particularly for me is that one, code wise, I am a little bit unsure how we would actually do the discovery API mechanism for the providers to absorb those features that are provider exclusive. Point number two, there are some issues around feature requests specifically for cluster secret stores. So this might be a trend on the future, as in new features need to be added for cluster providers. But this would probably be a little bit pain to maintain if we need to push that onto every single provider CRD. Uh, these are my 2 points really. Is a little bit on implementation, is still breaking for the users. I mean, we're discussing deprecating a very, very, very important CRD. Of course, it's going to be breaking. It's going to be to impact, not be breaking change, but to impact. And yeah, that's really. And if we do have more features that I can't think of right now on secret stores or on cluster secret stores, we are limiting ourselves with that decision today
Yeah,
of actually breaking the providers. These are
yeah.
really my 2 points. Is more kind of I don't want to commit basically.
Yeah, I get that with the cluster variant, because like with all the like with the generators, for instance, like people requesting for every generator CRD that we have, they want to also have like a cluster variant of it, so they can share it across different namespaces. Which I guess I see the use case. And for this particular use case of the secret stores, I totally get it. That makes sense. So I'm not like totally against it. I'm just like concerned in terms of usability and like how I envision a V2, so to say, just to have like a clear transition. This is the old world, the old CRD, and then we have like a completely new world, which functions similar, but you have just a clear interface, a clear cutoff point where you then just use this new kind of thing. Yeah, what I actually wanted to say was, oh, let me think. I think I just lost it.
Implementation wise, I even thought about ways to actually improve both of the proposals, even if we decide to just deprecate secret stores and absorb all the features onto this provider, cluster provider. What we could do to make things super smooth from user perspective is to change the secret store controller to actually just create a provider based on the configuration. So the deprecated secret store will just create a provider with the configuration that it has, converting, etc. And
Hmm.
then basically get our current secret store controller and change the name to provider controller and change the features appropriately, basically. that would work and would make the code on the provider level, which on this proposal is super chaotic. It would be way clear. It won't have like 3 different paths of possible ways. It would only have one, which is it only works with providers. And then the secret store is a deprecated abstraction that creates the provider for you. The way with that, the way that the secret stores are still separated, if we decide to go to that route, we can cut off the if and else classes that the proposal currently have by simply deciding to implement all of these changes at once. So the way that the code is looking at is just to be able to allow us to be lazy and not code this conversion, this change for every provider at once. But it's not like this change is very big to do, to be honest. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's it. So yeah.
Oh, my other point. My other point was regarding the deprecation or non-deprecation of the current V1 Beta 1 secret store. I think I think that we should not break the users that we have today. So I would propose that we just keep the existing secret store that we have today and move it towards V1, so people then just can use it and can keep on using it without having to worry about any major changes. And this could also work with the proposal that you have, that we then just add this new ref to the secret store. But I would propose to just leave it as it is and have this small translation mechanism that translates the current state into the new structure.
It would be nice anyway to have some sort of notice, because for users, they will see that another resource was added. They wouldn't really understand what it is doing. So even if it is, hey, from now on, secret stores are here for legacy. They're a legacy API. They will be kept, but you should probably go for the providers.
Yeah,
that's something that we can do.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have to. So if they have like something set up, they shouldn't. We should not force them to migrate to this new sort of thing. It's just a pain in the ass for users to do that migration.
The only thing that concerns me on that regard is forwards compatibility or backwards. I always I always mess up the two of them. But if we start to do changes on the provider level, because that's one of our original goals, we need to be sure that the secret store passes some sort of regression tests, right? Because the secret store would be frozen, and whatever we change at the provider level needs to have a backward compatibility contract with the secret stores. That's probably the only bit that we should be aware if we take that route.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's just like my initial idea in terms of like user experience and how I would like to see it in an ideal world. I get it with that compatibility. Yeah, but like I guess if we think about it the other way around, thinking of deprecating the current structure of the secret store, I think that would be just a very, very tough change for people. Not sure. So do you think that we should deprecate the current status?
If we decide to incorporate the secret store, cluster secret store features, which right now are like 3, onto every provider, yes, I think we should deprecate the secret stores. However, there is a very, very easy way forward for users that they don't really need to care, which is actually making the secret store controller to spin up the provider resource that specific secret store would behave as. So if that secret store is configured with provider.aws, that secret store generates a provider AWS configuration. Everything would work out of the box as long as we link the external secret a little bit, like do some very, very, very simple logic on the client manager level. Things would work completely nice for users. They would just get another manifest created, which means in order for the deprecation to happen, it could be as simple as deleting the secret store, as long as we don't make it owner of that new resource that we create.
Yeah, but
it's a hack, but it means zero downtime hack for everyone. So even I can see it as there would be just one transition moment, like users from 0.8 would not be able to go to 1.0. They will need to be on 0.10 when this feature is introduced, to then go to 1.0. That's really the only point. But no conversion, no mess up logic, simple path forward, if we decide to incorporate the secret store features to the providers.
Yeah, I can see that working within a certain range of conditions. If we make assumptions on how people use ESO and how they structure their manifests and how they deploy their manifests, then yes, this will work, but only within.
I lost you a little bit. That's that. Yes, this will work, but only within.
Like a constrained set of conditions. I don't think it works like for every user in every circumstance. I think it's just like if we make assumptions on how people use it, then we can make this this auto generation
Yeah, which is
stuff
why
work.
I'm
But
also. That's why I actually prefer to just keep the secret store as is, and if we deprecate a field, it's only the provider field that we deprecate on the secret store, in favor of provider ref plus documentation saying, hey, secret stores are now optional. If you want it, you get floodgating. You are able to control to which namespaces that is deployed. You get that basically, which is not much, but that's what you get. If you don't need that, just go for provider ref. That's it. That would be my logic basically. Would you see this as a problem for users as well? Probably even more, right? Because it's a manifest change that we can't really get our way by.
which one? Which one do you mean?
Deprecating spec.provider from the secret
Oh, I
store,
see. Mm-hmm.
it's probably harder for users than actually deprecating the whole secret store, as long as that secret store already automatically creates the new setup. For the same problems, a lot of assumptions, but if one is already breaking with our simple assumptions, it's like
Yeah.
the bit that I wanted to do today was actually to do a vote, but unfortunately we don't have many maintainers here, so this would probably just be skipped. I'm going to move to the next topic now because we're already 20 minutes past. Sorry about this delay. Next one is question about feature support matrix, general discussion about Conjure provider upgrades.
Yeah, so I added this. I was just as a way of background, you may have seen on Slack, I've been posting about this. We have a simple Conjure provider for ESO already, and we're looking at what we can do to improve that. We have customers who want to use it, and I've been tasked with sort of scoping that out and figuring out what different parts of that there are, what that would take, so that our project management can decide where to, you know, what to prioritize there, where to schedule that, that kind of thing. So I've been looking through, and obviously tests is one part, which I think is pretty straightforward after the little bit of help that I got in the Slack. But I was looking at the provider feature support matrix, which I put a link to. It's not immediately apparent to me what each of the features are. Um, push secret, okay, I can get that, but like referent authentication, metadata policy fetch. I was wondering if there's a place where these are documented, or if there's a good way for me to know exactly what features are missing, and information about each of those features, just so I can. So it seems like each provider has its own page, but I don't see like a more. This matrix puts it all very clearly, but there's not a lot of information about what each of those is. If that makes sense.
It does. I did read your Slack message, and then I was like, oh, I'm just going to write the answers. And then I'm like, I should probably do a documentation page instead of just writing the answers. It
Yeah.
is, for some of these features, the name came after someone in a provider introduced it. And then oh, this is a new feature. Let's add it to the table. So it's really,
Okay.
sorry about that. It's
Got
really
it.
not
That makes
clear.
sense.
Just to give a simple explanation on some of them.
Mhm.
Metadata policy fetch. What that means is that instead of just fetching the secret values of the provider, is getting the metadata values of that secret. So the name, last
Okay.
time it was created, etc. Next one, deletion policy, merge and delete. What it's basically for external secrets to be able to delete the Kubernetes secret whenever the source in the provider is deleted. Or
Okay.
delete the equivalent keys. The only thing that is needed from the provider level is to return a specific ESO error, which is, I think, error not found, whenever the key is not found, and then you're done. Nothing else
Okay.
needs to be done. That
Cool.
one's actually simple, but yeah, the name doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
Uh, and what the referent authentication, this one is really for cluster secret stores. And on that proposal, it would be easier to understand what it actually does, basically. Uh, when you have a cluster secret store, you can configure the namespace of a service account ref or a secret ref, or you can omit the namespace. If the
Mhm.
namespace is omitted on the cluster secret store, the provider uses the namespace of the external secret manifest that was calling the secret store. So it's using the namespace of the referent external secret using this cluster secret store. The idea here is that with one single manifest, one single, let's say, CyberArk configuration, and different secret keys on different namespaces, each external secret would work. We wouldn't need to create one secret store targeting each individual secret ref, as long as the
Okay.
secret names are the same. This one is the
Got it.
trickiest, in my opinion, to even implement currently, because the way that we do is a little bit coupled. One of the things that I also included in the proposal is to make it a proper interface that we can call and do the logic. It's a little bit easier to maintain for sure.
Okay.
These are the
And
main
then
ones. Did I miss
okay.
anyone?
So for find by name and find by tags, is if find by name is what it sounds like, how could you have any provider that doesn't have that?
There's actually a lot of providers don't have that just because it can be costly. Not all providers have a list API for secrets, so you need to actually kind of go in a loop to get. It can be a little bit cost consuming for some providers, at least from a CPU perspective. Uh, find by name is basically getting multiple secrets at once. Find by
Okay.
tags is similar, but getting multiple secrets based on tags. So one is
Okay.
labels, find like Kubernetes labels as an example. The other one is I want to get all secrets that start with dev, and then all secrets are loaded onto the Kubernetes onto a single Kubernetes secret. So even the use case there is a little bit limited.
I see.
Is
Okay.
It works very well with Parameter Store or with Google Secret Manager because they are more for simple values. But if you
Hmm.
go for HashiCorp Vault, it's like, my opinion, it's more painful to use find all secrets than to just template what you want with Helm or whatever.
Right. 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 Yeah. I don't think we would even. Yeah, I think we explicitly would not support that, knowing some of the things we've talked about internally. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. Got it. So that was a little bit confusing to me. Just this a little bit. I find my name. I thought that meant to find a single variable by name. I didn't realize that meant find by matching a name. So okay. Got it. Fine. And then you mentioned you were thinking of making this documentation thing. You think that's going to happen in the short term?
I will
No.
try. I will try. It's
It
because
doesn't. I'm just asking.
the issue that I personally have is that my dedication to external secrets is on my free time,
Got
and
it.
right now I am a little bit out of free time due to overwork. So,
Okay. Yeah. I got it. Understood. Okay. Fine.
but I will
So
try. I will try my best to
okay.
actually. I will even add on the same level on the introduction feature overview or something like that that explains what are the possible provider features.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be really helpful. And even if you have like a draft PR that I could look at, and that would be super helpful, or anything would be helpful. And even this is very helpful, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Happy that we could help.
And wondering from your end, is there anything that you think that we should know from the Conjure side about what you would like to see added, etc.
Generally
I guess.
speaking, go on, Moritz.
Oh yeah, maybe in terms of like if you have some engineering time to spend on it, what we generally like to do is to have some sort of end-to-end integration test suite that integrates with the actual thing.
Yeah,
So if
absolutely. Okay.
have like some cloud service that you can use, or we can register with it, then that would be great. If you just have some engineering time spent on it to create a set of test cases, so then that will just immensely help with the stability of that provider. So whenever you update the SDK, that would help immensely to just verify that it's actually working as expected.
Yeah, and that is definitely one of the things I'm putting down here that I'm going to pitch PM on. I'm thinking we should. So Conjure is as an open source. The basic version is open source, so there's no reason not to create. The same way HashiCorp Vault. I see you have an end-to-end test suite. There's no reason not to do the exact same thing. So I'm very much hoping that will be prioritized, because that just is a no-brainer.
That will be awesome.
Awesome.
Regarding features wise, the two most important for me personally would be the deletion policy. Not because it's super simple, but because it adds a lot of values for customers using it on regulated environments. Because if the
Okay.
secret if the secret misses from the provider, it should be deleted everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
And the referent authentication, just because it really adds quality of life for users. So
Gotcha.
these are the ones that for me are like very, very, very important to have, just because it either simplifies or allows for enterprise companies to actually use it more confidently.
Perfect. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Having said that, we are out of points on our agenda notes. So before closing, anyone wants to discuss any other thing, any other point that we missed? Go on, please.
Oh, thank you so much. I guess that is kind of topic, I believe. I was checking a certain PR that one of you guys were wanting some help in order to implement get all secrets for some providers. And I'd like to work on the Sense Segura to be more precise for personal matters, just to understand more about the Sense Segura provider. And I'd like to ask, how can you get in touch with the provider itself to get some credentials? Because I saw that Sense Segura is not quite easy. Can I just contact them, explain the situation, say, oh, okay, just give me one temporary
Uh,
credentials here?
the best way would be to, there are some ways. So for some providers, what we did was actually pay from our money to implement the feature.
Okay.
That is unfortunately something that happens. For Senha Segura, the people that actually added it were employees from Senha Segura themselves. And
Mm,
here on the provider feature support, we have a link for one GitHub handle that you can contact them with. That would be the best way to avoid spending money. I am not sure if they have like a free tier or something. If they do, this is something that you can also leverage to see if it's worth implementing or not.
yeah, I guess that I don't have easily, unless until I get in contact with their sales team, basically.
Yeah,
This would
let
be my first
me.
try.
I think I have you on Slack, right? You already messaged me on Slack. I will post you the GitHub handle of
Okay,
the contributor, Lucas, and then you can reach out to him to see if that's possible.
sure, sure.
I don't think that we have an end-to-end suite for Senha Segura, right, Moritz? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, the
Okay.
case would be probably not the best provider to start, but if you're starting with that one, probably reach out to them to see if they can help you out there.
Well, sure. Yeah, I don't have any constraints regarding Sensei itself. I can just choose another provider. I thought that would be something good to start, but apparently I have some credentials issues from the start. But it's okay. In the worst case scenario, I can choose another provider if I face in the wall.
For sure, for sure.
Thank you,
Just
folks.
and thank you for helping out. These community-driven providers really depends on your effort to bring them up to speed. Again, because we kind of lack time, unfortunately. So I really appreciate your help, Victor. Thanks.
Sure, let's
Yeah.
have each other.
Yeah, Victor. By the way, in case you have to spend some money on that provider, if just if they ask for a couple of dollars or so per month, then there's you can easily expand that through Open Collective. Like we have this Open Collective page, and whenever you have to spend some money on it, you can just expand it there. If it's like within a reasonable amount of money, like some tens of dollars or so, it's not a problem. So you can just expand it there, or just ask us, and then we can make that happen in case that's needed.
Also,
So we have like some money from
Yeah.
financial contributors. So
good to
That's
know
a
that.
good reminder, Moritz. So yeah, if it is on the reasonable level, like not $1,000 per month, like some providers, it's possible for us to also help you out there. Even if there is only a paid mode and the paid mode is expensive, we can help out with the costs themselves.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Anything else?
nope.
If not, the only one point that I would like to say, we should probably create the vote async for what you do with the secret store, right?
Yep.
I will create that action item and start the vote async, the async vote.
Should we do it in Slack or?
I think Slack is good for visibility, but uh, Lucas mentioned, I think the best way would actually be external secrets maintainer's email, because then people can subscribe and see the list. I think that's the process that Lucas told me once that it was the best that they were doing on Sig Scheduler. I'll ping him just to be sure, and then we use whatever the method he said it was the best. Now that we have more maintainers.
Yep, that works for me.
Start vote async for secret store. Okay then. Having said that, thank you all for joining. I'm going to stop recording.
Thank you.